Welcome back, guys, and as the title suggests, this is going to be a part 2 of the childhood series. And now I did kind of feel like I'd covered everything when I did the first video, but then I watched back and I was like, rah, you've missed so much. So I've been kind of brainstorming and trying to find a way that I could probably put it all together. And if you're new to watching this channel and you don't really know me, you'll probably be thinking like, no one cares, like why is this guy doing this? And to answer that question, all I can really say is it's just fun to make. You know, if you don't enjoy it, I will be doing stuff that hopefully you'll enjoy in the future. But with all that being said, this is part 2 of my childhood. So I feel like I covered the early stuff quite extensively. You know, I was pretty much a loser and that's all there was to it. So let's go back to about the age of 8 or 9. So there was one time that my brother was taking a bath. And now I don't really know if I was looking to scare or make him laugh. I had a tub of BB pellets because we had this BB dart gun. And well, I had the genius idea of turning into a monster by putting one BB pellet up each nostril. So without really giving it much thought, I just picked up 2 BB pellets and just shoved them straight up. The main thing that I hadn't really considered was the fact that I had a cold. Basically what I'm about to say is they went up, but they wasn't coming back out. And it wasn't quite as simple as just pinching your nose and exhaling. Nope, these bad boys were stuck up there. And this is where the panic started to settle in. We tried a few things such as the needles to try and get them out, but they weren't working, so we had to go to hospital. And obviously they didn't really treat it as life-threatening because I could still breathe, so I was waiting for about a good 7 hours. We got to the first doctor and this guy was like Mr. Giggles. He was fucking scary. He got someone to hold my head while he shoved a needle up and tried flushing the ball out. Yeah, that's right, I said ball. One had already fallen out while I was waiting. And well, for a 9-year-old, I felt like I was in a saw trap.
Keep your head still.
But for a petrified, very tired 9-year-old, I had a lot of fight in me. And he got to the point where the doctor was like, fuck it, I can't really do this. So we was back out in the waiting room for a few more hours. And luckily the next doctor was really cool and he got it out within seconds with tweezers. And the funniest part about this story was after he got them out, he asked how they'd even got up there in the first place. And obviously most kids are full of shit and they expect people to be idiots, so my excuse was very stupid. I somehow expected this guy to believe that I'd fallen downstairs and at the very bottom of the stairs where my head had fallen, there was 2 balls just on the floor and they'd popped up each nostril. Safe to say he laughed at me. When I turned 10 I had an Indian math teacher. Probably the coolest teacher I ever had, to be fair, and he was very well prepared. And by prepared, I mean he always had condoms. Okay, that's not true at all. He just prepared his lessons by having about 5,000 PowerPoint pages. For the most part, I did learn quite a lot, up until we got to fractions. And then I just burst into a fit of laughter every time he says 2/3. Because it wouldn't sound the same way that I say it. It was 2 turds. You're probably quite disappointed the fact that I didn't do an Indian accent. Well, I don't really fancy being cancelled this early on. He's probably totally forgot that I exist now and here I am making videos about him. It will just one day stroll up on this video and be like, you bloody bastard bitch. Okay, I promise it's the one time I'll do that. At the age of 14 or 15 I started smoking. By the age of 16 or 17 I was doing heroin. Wait, what? Nah, that's just a joke, but I did start smoking at the age of 14 or 15. Peer pressure thing. I should track the guy down that started me off smoking and say to him like, you owe me 2 or 3 grand. There was one time I got a bit of money off my mum so that we could all kind of chip in for some cigarettes. She didn't know that obviously, but in between the 3 of us that paid for the tobacco, only one of us could roll. So when it came for us all to go home, the guy that had the tobacco was like, fuck it, I may as well just keep it for myself, but I'll keep your guys like tobacco spare, I won't use it myself. And we weren't sure about this because we didn't really get pocket money, so it's like, if we lose this then we're not going to get it back. And if he smokes it, then it's gone. Alexa, play another non-copyright song. So 2 of them started arguing between each other and I was just kind of leaving them to it at first. Then it started heating up and the guy was refusing to give us our cut of the tobacco. So I went over and I joined in with the other lad and I started saying like, this ain't right, you know, we should have our share, it's all kind of, we've all chipped in for it. So and then it gets a little bit more physical and that's where I go to grab the tobacco pouch and he grabs it at the same time and it would kind of just pull it and it just rips open straight on the floor. Bearing in mind it had been raining, tobacco just gets soaked and all 3 of us are just looking down at the floor for like 10 seconds with silence, not a word. I'm sure there's some kind of life lesson in that, but being greedy with tobacco, is that really a life lesson? Just don't smoke it at all, really. Now, I tried so hard after this to try and keep it a secret that I was smoking from my mum. I try and do so many things to make sure she don't find out. Well, apart from cleaning my room, and I didn't realise that the whole time I was trying to keep this under wraps. I was just leaving like packets and stuff of tobacco around my room, and yeah, it's stupid. I've always been terrified by spiders, and the most traumatic experience of my life was one time when I was taking a shit. I don't know why, but all my stories seem to start with me taking a shit. So yeah, I just finished taking a shit and I picked the toilet roll up to wipe my arse, and inside it there was a fucking spider. And it just came running out of the hole, and oh my god. I can't say I shit myself because I'd already done that, but I shit myself internally or metaphorically, whichever one it is. But no matter what it was, man, I fucking shit myself. I jumped up. I hadn't even wiped my arse yet and I went running out of that bathroom. I didn't even care that my batty crease was full of shit. You know, I feel when you've got a true phobia, you don't give a toss, you just want to get away from it. You don't care what situation you're in. Just get me away from that 8-legged fuck. So I stood there for about 10 minutes and slowly but surely I'd pluck up the courage to just pick up a little bit more toilet roll, pick up a bit more toilet roll, pick up a bit more toilet roll. Eventually I wiped my arse and I just got out of there, man. There was one time I saw a massive spider behind my bed. Because we didn't kill it quick enough, it ran off behind my bed and I was just like, fuck this. I packed my bags and I moved my grans for a week. There was one time I was hanging around with a group of people and there was a few that I didn't know that were with them, and this girl was telling a story about some girl's tits, and she's talking about how big they are, and then all of a sudden, like, she decides to use my head as an example. She was like, they're as big as his head. From that point on, I was really self-conscious. The next time we went shopping, I got a Velcro like hat and I put it on my head and I just used it to test how big my head was. Luckily, it wasn't like the largest setting, so yeah, I started calming down with the self-consciousness after that, but fucking hell, there was no need for that shit. Oh yeah, I also forgot the phenomenal story about when I ate too much cheese. See, I didn't really know how to cook or anything, and all we had was like a block of cheese for some reason. And I just decided, fuck it, I'm just going to munch on that. So yeah, I got the block of cheese and I just ate like half of it. And about 20 minutes later, I just started throwing up everywhere. I've never been so ill in my life. The next few days, I was just fucked. And like, we could not get the smell of my vomit from the carpet. It just wasn't, it was a putrid smell and it just wasn't going anywhere. Fucking hell, I really can't talk today. You know, I've noticed something, like most times when people are talking about their life, they mention a few achievements and that. I achieved fuck all throughout like my childhood. I didn't achieve anything. I was just that guy that ate too much cheese. But I think that's a good note to leave this episode. I probably will do another one because I just keep coming up with more things that happened throughout my childhood. So if you enjoyed these, don't worry, there will definitely be more of them. But thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you soon.